Hello. I'm just out here in the wood. I thought I would go ahead and make that video about the Octo-spider confrontation I had recently. So holy shit. So yeah, it was I think June 8th around 2 to 3 a.m. I was in the middle astral realm and just walking around in like a cityscape of some kind. It was like a dark alleyway, I remember, and it was real musty, dingy atmosphere. Um, it was like the place I was at reminded me of like a 17th century like bay or something. Like it was like really old timey like brickwork, and it it just seemed like that was the century around that time period. But I was walking around in this like musty alleyway, and I opened a door. And before I knew it, right when I opened it, literally right when I opened it, I was hit in the face with this gelatinous, amorphous, shadow like substance that started like tethering out like this and just whiplashing and coming at me. And I flew backwards like as quick as I could and went through the alleyways and then came into an open port like area. Like I said, it's like a bay. There were boats. I jumped on this big wooden ship and stood on the end of it, which was like kind of an open area just on these big boards. And that's where the being came in from the sky, from the direction of the alleyway, from the sky and above me up in the air. And it was like, no shit, it was like 50 feet tall, but like 50 by 50. Like this thing was an amorphous blob. It's really muddy right there. This thing was an amorphous like blob of shadow like ash like consistency, but it had a center mass and then it had tentacles coming off of the center mass. I didn't see a face at this point. And something inside me intuitively knew like I've been waiting for this moment. I've never seen beings like this before. These kind of archons, these kind of shadow people, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's always like Dementor type beings. I don't know if you've seen Harry Potter, but they're just like normal size, and they are a pain in the ass to me. They're always attacking me. They're always coming after me, and I have learned to defend myself finally from them. I've actually been woken up to one sodomizing my root chakra before, and I looked at face to face. I've made videos about that. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that, but it's normally those kind of creatures, and they're all parasites. They're all just trying to feed off of your plasma. And anyway, so this thing was of a different tier. It was of a different level. It was like a boss tier. And I've never seen one like this. So I just intuitively knew, like, I've been waiting for this, and that's what I said out loud when it manifested in front of me. We both kind of paused and sized each other up. It then just started throwing these fucking ashy shadow-like tentacles at me, grabbing at me, and that's when I started from my heart center, like I normally do when I expand my light body, and I shot out a sphere of white light, or kind of like a shield for myself. And it kind of initially worked, but then it started to get the best of me. I could feel myself shrinking inward. I could feel paralysis coming in on me. And that's when I started shooting out like bolts to try to fend it back, to like pierce through it and like shoot it backwards. I wasn't strong enough for this thing, whatever it was. It kept attacking, it got stronger and stronger, and it started suffocating me. And that's when I pulled the plug. My silver cord plug, which is like a lifeline when you're out of body. No matter what, you can always instantly shoot back into your body because of the silver cord. And that's what I did. I pulled the plug, went back to my body. So when I went back to my body, I was getting massive fucking chills, like all through my body. You know, those orgasmic chills, just all through my body, man. And that's when I looked at my wall, and it was still really dark in my room. I looked at my wall, and I saw, like, it was so weird. It was like an effigy of the being that I was fighting with, but just like a small effigy of it right in front of me on my wall. And it like projected a hologram of sorts to me to show me what it was. And when it did that, it then turned into more of like a spider octopus form, and I could see a head. I could see a face, very, very evil looking face, 2 eyes, neon green eyes staring at me. And that's when I started saying, "Who are you? What do you want?" And every word I spoke, I had the biggest fucking chills running all through me. Just like, oh, I can't even explain it, man. Like orgasmic chills, but like not in that positive of a sense, but it's still, God damn it, it was just so fucking powerful. I then started shit talking to it, which, you know, I don't recommend. It wasn't very smart, but I don't have fear for these fucking things, and I don't have remorse. So anyway, I then closed my eyes, and I was fucking back all of a sudden, but not in the same area. It was more of like an open area, and I just remember like dirt all around me, and just like crimson sky atmosphere, and it was there in front of me again, and its massiveness encroaching upon me. I can't remember what I said, but I was I was not shit talking, but I don't know. And it kind of pissed it off more. And then all of a sudden, I was expecting it to come at me again, but then all of a sudden, these steel wires that were like 1/4 inch thick, these steel wires popped out of the fucking ground and started wrapping around my ankles, and then more popped out, grabbed my wrist, pulled on my wrist, and was just like pulling me down. And that's when I knew I wasn't fucking with something normal, like an average foe. This thing was fucking powerful, man. And I've never ever experienced anything like this in my life outside of body. But there was one other experience of, I think, an even more powerful dark entity that I've met. I might talk about that at the end when I finish this story. Anyway, it started wrapping me up and pinning me on the ground, and I shot back to my body again. There it was again on my wall, glaring at me, and that's when I was just like, "What the fuck are you? What do you want?" And I wasn't yelling out loud, you know. It was like telepathic, and with like I said, every word, I got chills running all through my body. And I went back again, but this time it was gone. I think this thing just wanted to make an impression on me. Who knows? Maybe it's been aware of me for a while. Like I said, this was not a projection of my own consciousness. This, I believe 100,000%, this is an entity dwelling on one of the interdimensional planes of Earth. Some people call it an archon. You know what? Yaldabaoth, fucking whatever the hell it is, it's real. And it's out there. And who knows what kind of damage this thing is doing to the grids of the planet. But maybe its little mission was to intimidate me, to scare me away from going out of body and fucking around in their little territory. But you know what? It did the exact opposite. So now I want to get stronger and understand it more. I'm just so fucking intrigued. That thing like revitalized my faith in my mission. Like, this is what I've been waiting for my whole goddamn life, is a reason to live, like a fight, like a struggle. And oh God, it's just, I can't even explain how excited it makes me, and I got chills for days after just thinking of the action we shared between us. But so it's just crazy. I wanted to say, like, popular movies in pop culture, and in this is especially like science fiction and fiction, fairy tale lore, Old Norse mythos, dude, all the symbolism is there. This is like so similar. Like the scene in The Hobbit where Sauron, the necromancer, appears as Sauron in those like shadowy tether arms. He starts throwing at fucking Gandalf and then he pins him on the wall. That was like the same shit that happened to me, dude. And that's not the only story. Like in the Matrix, you know, there's those sentinel spiders. Like this shit is all in our culture, and there's a reason for that, because it's mirroring reality. We know deep down what's real, and you know, it has to do with the hero's journey and archetypes and all that shit. But this thing, man, I haven't seen it since. It's been days. I haven't astral projected in like 3 days. But I can't wait to see this fucker again. It'll probably kick my ass again, but you know what? It can't hurt me, because we are more powerful than it. You know what? It's a disembodied spirit that doesn't have the full free-flowing connection to source. It doesn't have the heart field going. We have that connection. And through that connection, we get sustenance, we get light, we get energy. This thing doesn't have that connection. Whether it lost its heart field through negative karma, or you know, just free will, whatever, who knows? But you know, I still have respect for these entities. They're here to teach us a lesson. They're actually helping us level up. So, you know, there's a purpose for every being on this plane of existence and on the other planes of existence. But I just wanted to tell you all about that. What else to say, man? Fucking, it's just so intense. I can't express enough these experiences, like how powerful they are. And I'm just so grateful that I get an audience to share these experiences with, because they can be extremely the gravitas is just, it's just huge. The weight it can have on a psyche. And you know, I share a lot of the light body activation and expanding chakras and nutting kundalini up your spine and all that shit, but a lot of times I don't preface it with a warning that the magnitude of these experiences for somebody that's not ready can be devastating. It can be devastating. It could throw you into psychosis. What I just told you right there is grounds for a schizophrenia diagnosis by mainstream medical establishment, okay? And if you didn't have your spirituality, if you didn't have proper guidance, you would think you were going insane. And that could lead you to a lifelong drug dependency. It could lead you to overdose. It could land you in a goddamn mental hospital. So this is no fucking joke, okay? And that, I just want to tell y'all how grateful I am that I have you, the symbiotic relationship with, to express these things too and share, you know? So, but there is a buffer, and that buffer is discipline. So you're not just going to start having these experiences, you know, randomly with minimal effort. You're going to have to want it. You're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to activate your nadis and expand your aura and all that shit. And that takes work. It doesn't happen overnight. So I feel like a lot of y'all that actually are might experience this stuff, you might have the strength inside, the will, you know, and that will protect you when these negative experiences do come up. So I'm not too worried about it. All y'all are really strong. You've been through a lot of bullshit in life. You know, if I'm resonating with you, you've been through some shit. Because this isn't for the timid. This isn't for the meager. This isn't for the weak-willed. This topic. This can be the stuff nightmares are made of, okay? So And to us, we transmute it. We turn it into gratitude. We turn it into wisdom. But so what else can I say? I'm just gonna make a long video. Fuck it. So there was one other experience I had with a being that I perceived to be more powerful than this thing. I just remember being out of body and then all of a sudden sucked into a vortex. This was back in 2017 after my Kundalini awakening, right when I started sharing my experiences online and shit. I was in a free fall vortex, pitch black, and there was a deep, powerful voice that was just kept grabbing my body, manipulating it, twisting it, turning it, moving it around in this vortex in free fall. And it was saying things like, "Do you know who I am?" Just like, you know, like, "How dare you?" Like, whatever it was, it didn't like me. And it was fucking powerful. And I put it up there with fucking the demiurge, Satan, whatever the fuck. This thing was powerful. It sucked me into its own little psychotronic vortex and fucking had its way with me. And it was like a warning, a stern fucking warning. I don't remember the exact words, but it was like along the lines of, "How dare you? Do you have any idea what you're fucking with? Who I am?" It was shit like that. And it scared the fucking shit out of me at first, but you know, I've just always welcomed danger and adventure. So I kept doing, I'm not scared, man. I'm not scared of these motherfuckers. You know, I've detoxed cold turkey off Xanax and heroin as a homeless person before on the fucking streets. Like, no fucking disembodied astral being or fucking parasitic fucking interdimensional fucking piece of shit is gonna scare me, you know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm still humble, you know. Everything happens for a reason. I'm gonna transmute all the negative into positive, and that's what I'm doing right now. But I just want you to remember that this is no joke. This is real life. These experiences can have really traumatic effects on you. I had PTSD from these experiences, and the thing that helped me the most was communication with other people. That's why I started the social media. That's why I started sharing my story, because coherence is key. You know, these emotions, they're charges of energy. They can get caught up in your auric field if you don't ground them out. And then that can manifest into blockages, you know, spiritual, emotional, physical blockages, you name it. And if you don't ground the charge, if you don't pass the charge out, whether through communication, whether through self-expression, love, gratitude, it's all energy, and you have to put it, you brought it into your field through the experiences, and you have to put it back. You keep what you can, you put the rest back, or else it will create a blockage, especially if it's negative energy. So that's why we're all here, is to be in service to each other. That's coherence. It's coherence, you know, microcosmically. An example of that coherence, of what I'm talking about, is your auric field. It has to be a perfect free-flowing torus. And for that to happen, there has to be minimal blockages. You have to be, you know, conscious breathing and venting out traumatic emotions, thought forms, you know. But that's what it's all about. I just told you the secret of life. Service to others. Coherence. That's how the universe is one song. Coherence. That's how it's all connected. And when the blockages come in, when those trapped charges come in, it severs that connection to source, to the universe, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I'm just rambling now. I love y'all. Let me know in the comments what you think that thing was. I heard some very interesting theories on it. I haven't really delved into the ancient Gnostic lore of the Archons too much, but I'm curious to see what y'all think. All right? I love y'all. Stay up.